All the choices you made, did you make them again, 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 again? All the lies that you told, did you believe in them? All the choices you made, did you make them again, 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 again? All the lies that you told, did you believe in them? Again, 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 again.
Welcome to A Tale of Voice. I'm RJ Junaid, and you know me from last time. If you didn't know, this is A Tale of Choice, where you guys get to pick where the story goes. Joining us today is RJ Niket. He wasn't here last time, but he will be here from this show and whatever shows we do after this. If you guys aren't familiar with how we run the show, essentially you guys will be in charge of a character and they'll be going through a story, and you guys can pick which direction the story evolves from there by making decisions for the main character. And one more thing before we start off, once again, I'm Ajay Junaid, that's Ajay Niket, and that's Ajay Kinshuk with his buddy Ajay Periodic Table. And we did a little bit of a realistic fiction sort of thing last time, and we thought we'd change it up a little bit and give you a little more of a creepy horror gothic vibe to this. So get ready for some chills, some creepy music, some creepy stuff, and I think that's it for intros. Unless it's not, Kinshuk, would you like to take it away?
Yes. So let's meet today's character. He's Bart, a 13-year-old who just started at new school. His family just moved to this town last month, and he hasn't made any friends yet. Bart is annoyed at this fact, since he was quite popular at his last school and had many friends. It was this annoyance that made him stop and talk to Nick, a boy about his age that he hadn't noticed before. And that's where our tale starts. Oh, and we'll be narrating from Bart's perspective. So whenever we say Bart, whenever we say you, we mean Bart.
So now that the introductions are done, let's begin with our story. You've been talking to Nick for a while now, comparing favorite rock groups and comic books. It turns out both of you collect Spider-Man comics. Nick has all the first issues from the last 5 years too. Comics are cool, Nick says. But do you know what's even cooler? What? You ask. Horror stories. Nick exclaims. In fact, He stops you from talking and stares at you. What? You ask. What about horror stories? It's probably way too scary for you, Nick replies. Nothing's too scary for me, you boast. That's because you've never been to a horror club, Nick says. What's that? You ask, and Nick replies back with a grin. It's a club I belong to. You've got to be really brave to be a member. When we meet, we tell spooky stories. Really scary. Cool, you reply. I love scary stories. Can I join? If you think you can handle it, we meet every Friday at Tresendar Hall. That's the deserted house at the end of our street. It was old Professor Krupnik's house. I've seen the house. It looks haunted, you tell Nick. But then you end with a laugh. Don't laugh, he warns you. It is haunted.
Haunted? For real? You ask. For real, Nick replies seriously. That's why we picked it. Some of the scariest stories I've ever heard happened in Tresendar Hall. Like what? Like the stories of the kids disappearing on Halloween night, Nick says. They were all dressed up, trick or treating. They rang Krupnik's bell. A figure dressed all in black answered, and the kids were invited inside. Only they never came out. What happened? You ask breathlessly. Nobody knows, Nick replies. But late at night, you can still hear the kids' screams. Horrible screams. When the moon is full, some people say they've seen the little creatures in monster costumes roaming about inside the house, trapped forever. Wow, great story, you say. It's not a story, Nick tells you. Being a member of the horror club can be dangerous. Very dangerous. He pauses, and then adds, Today's Friday. We meet tonight. Do you want to come? So, that brings us to the first choice of the evening. You guys can decide where Bart goes today. Do you think he should A, risk it and go to the horror club? Or B, say thanks and go back home?
Once again, that's A, risk it and go to the horror club, or B, say thanks and go home. What do you think they should do? I mean, I'm
I
stuck.
feel that-
We're stuck at home, so might as well go.
No, but I feel that Nick seems to be a very sketchy guy, and I personally wouldn't really buy into that horror story
Yeah.
agenda that he was trying to propagate.
Ghost.
He just
Guys,
seems to be a very
guys, we got our first response. It seems Shan has answered A. So
Vidila also
I guess
answered
we'll risk it.
Great choice. The horror club sounds great. You tell Nick. Count me in. I'll meet you in front of your house at 9 o'clock tonight, Nick says. You agree and say goodbye, rushing back home to get ready. At 9 o'clock, you join Nick under the elm tree in your front yard. A skinny, fidgety girl with messy, long black hair waits with Nick. This is Debbie, he says. She's a member of the club too. Hi, Debbie says. You can barely see her under all that thick hair, and she always seems to be squirming around. You wonder what's with this strange girl. You follow your new friends up to the hill at the end of the long, dark street. The farther you go, the fewer houses there are. At the end of the road, all the street lights are out. The sky is pitch black. And if it weren't for Nick's flashlight, you'd probably trip over your own feet. There it is, Nick points. The hall.
A huge dark shadow looms at the end of the street. It's the mansion. You stop walking and gaze up at it. Nick shines his flashlight at the old house on the hill. Tresendar Hall is a two-story, old-fashioned house. All the windows that aren't boarded up are broken. Loose shingles flap from the roof. Paint peels from the weathered sides of the house. It looks as if no one has lived there for 100 years. You climb up the sagging porch with Nick and Debbie. Tall, overgrown trees and bushes cast eerie shadows across the deserted lawn. Isn't this place awesome? Debbie whispers to you. Really cool, you agree. This house has been empty for 2 years, Nick tells you. Ever since crazy old Krupnik died. No one will buy it because it's haunted, Debbie explained. You notice she's chewing nervously at the ends of her long hair. Yuck! The front door was boarded up until we figured it out how to pry it open, Debbie says. She points to the large wooden door. Let's go! You take a step forward. Stop! Nick shouts. Get down! Now! Now, this is where you get your second choice for today. Your first option is that you do as Nick says and get down, or you ignore him and head straight for the door. I repeat the options for you. The option A is you just get down as Nick says, and the second option you have is that you ignore him and head straight for the door. Guys, what do you think should be an ideal response from
I mean,
Bart?
it's just a home.
Yeah, but
Just
they seem
go
like
there.
they know what they're doing, right? I mean, they've obviously
true.
been here.
True, but it's just a house. What can happen if he doesn't stop? Ghosts don't exist, right?
I agree with Junaid over here.
So
I
I
agree with
think,
Junaid here because they've been doing this since years, so they probably know
Yeah,
what's
I
going
know.
on.
guys, we've got our choice. So Simi says B,
Okay.
and
Not
Jyoti
that
also
bad.
says B, and
Yep.
Krishna says we're gonna die either way.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So B is that you ignore Nick's exclamation and you go straight for the door. Let's see what happens. Nick's just trying to scare you. You think he's testing you to see if you're brave enough for the horror club. Obviously, you shrug and you rush forward. You dash across the porch and squeeze through a narrow space in the boards covering the front door. You land on your knees with a thud. As soon as you hit the floor, a piercing alarm sounds through the house. What's going on? You wonder. You gaze around quickly. Nick and Debbie are nowhere to be found. The dark house seems empty. You fold your ears, trying to block out the horrible noise of the alarm. And then, through a dusty window, you see lights. Red, whirling lights. The police! You've set off a burglar alarm. Now you're in big trouble. How are you ever going to explain this to the police? Well, first you have to find out how to explain this to your mom and dad. Too bad. It looks like your adventure is over before it even began.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Well done, guys. You picked the absolute shortest way to end this story. Well played.
See you at jail.
Just
There were so many ends possible, and you picked
the
the one
quickest
which
way to
didn't
go.
include any adventure.
But
Uh,
hey, this is what this series is all about.
Yes,
You guys get
it all
decide what
depends on
happens.
how you guys. Yeah, you guys did this last time as well, and last time we can blame Canada, and this time we can blame
Simi.
who are we blaming this time? Sumi, yes, excellent, good job, guys, fantastic.
We had such a huge adventure plan for you all. But it seems like
You
luck is
guys
not
have no
in
idea.
favor.
This is like a 30-page story.
With 24 ends.
Yeah.
Well done.
And you picked the first end and
Yeah,
the
so
shortest
I have
end.
no. Do you think we should like rewind
No.
and go back? Or-
Like, if you guys, we can redo this end.
Quick question: If you guys want, we'll just go back to that previous option and go down different path.
It's all up to you.
Call it a point of inspiration. Oh man, this is just.
So, ooh. Okay, so you guys
I
wanna
think
okay.
enough
So he
people-
says you wanna pick A now, and Sean says let's do it. Sure.
It is unscripted, yes. Thank you for that. Thank you for forcing us into this.
Totally unscripted.
Okay,
Give
you
us-
know what? We'll just go with what Nick says, and I'll start from there, and then we can just
Yeah.
continue
Yes.
as usual. Okay.
It's overwhelmingly in support of going back and choosing the other option.
Yeah, so let's start.
I'm just gonna get everyone back in the mood. Just horror, creepiness. Get that in your heads. So, last you remember, Nick told you to get down, and we're picking up from there. What is it? You cry as your body hits the ground. We've got to be careful, Nick whispers. If anyone catches us going through that front door, we could be in big trouble. We're not really allowed in here. You nod. You nod and then you watch Debbie as she squirms and glances around nervously. You wonder why your new friends are so jumpy. But then you figure, Nick and Debbie, they know what they're doing. They've been here long enough. You stand and you follow Nick and Debbie across the porch, keeping as quiet as possible. You pull off the broken boards on the front door, and then you enter the dark house. The air in the entryway is stale and dusty. You pull back as it sneeze from the dust. Nick motions for you to follow him. You creep after Nick and Debbie down this dark hallway, and the floorboards creak loudly with each step. And then you enter a big, dimly lit living room. A broken chandelier sways from the ceiling. The faded wallpaper hangs in pieces from the walls. Dirty sheets cover what appear to be old sofas and chairs. And then you see them.
4 kids sit in a circle on the living room floor. A big yellow flame flickering in the center. They all turn and stare at you. No one seems happy to see you. You stand awkwardly as Nick introduces you and says, "This is our newest member." "What are you talking about?" cries a girl with short curly red hair. She glares at you. "I've brought a new member to the horror club," Nick repeats. "Not today!" exclaims a large boy with bulging arm muscles. "Why not?" Debbie asks, squirming next to you. "Didn't anyone tell you?" asks another girl. "Tonight's the special night. You've got to get that kid out of here. We're not telling stories tonight. The plan has changed."
Nick and Debbie quickly leave your side and huddle together with the other kids. You can hear them arguing about you. Then one voice rises above the others. "But today's game day, you know what that means?" "I don't." You suddenly call out. You're sick of standing there. You want to know what's going on. And it works. All 6 kids stop arguing. The girl with the red hair steps towards you. "I'm Marcy," tells you. "There are no stories tonight. We're playing games instead. But new members can't play. It's the rule." "Can't you break the rules just this one time?" you ask. "These aren't ordinary games," warns the boy with the large muscles. "These games are scary. Really scary. The scarier the better," you announce bravely. This starts another argument. Some kids want you to stay and play, others want you to leave. Debbie hurries over to your side. Through a mane of dark hair, she whispers, "Go home! Go home now!" But at that moment, Marcy announces, "It's decided. You can stay and play games with us." "Great," you say, ignoring Debbie. "What are we playing?"
The game is called The Hunt, Marcy tells you. I'm captain of the blue team. Nick is captain of the red team. You watch as Nick picks Debbie and a skinny boy named Connor to be on his team. Connor has short, bristly hair and smells as if he's been lying in a dumpster. Ew. For the blue team, Marcy chooses a beautiful girl with long blonde hair and green eyes. Her name is Lara. She smiles shyly at you. Marcy also picks the guy in the muscle shirt. "Hi, I'm Martin," the kid says, pounding you on the back. "Welcome to the horror club," he laughs. Then he flexes his muscles. You step back. Martin's arm is bigger than your whole body. That's 3 on each team, Marcy announces. Our new member can join either one, she turns to you. It's up to you. What team will you join? So, that's the next choice you guys get to make. Would you rather hang out with Nick, Debbie, and Connor on the red team, or do you want to get to know Lara, Marcy, and Martin on the blue team? Up to you.
Red pill, blue pill.
That's our options once again. Option A, red team. Option B, blue team.
Just
I
to
mean,
tell you who are the members, once again,
yeah.
the red team consists of Nick, Debbie, and Connor. Nick and Debbie, whom you already know. And the red team consists of Lara, Marcy, and Martin. Lara, the one who shyly smiled at you, and Martin, the muscular guy.
I mean,
Yeah, it's
blue team
definitely a
sounds
football
better
game.
choice for me,
Huh?
but blue team
Yeah,
sounds
I
better to
mean,
me. But red team
Even I
really
feel blue
already.
team.
we already know people on the red team.
But I mean, I would have chosen the blue team because from the beginning of the story, I'm not a huge
Oh,
fan of Nick.
we've already got
Oh,
we've already gotten a choice. I think
yeah.
Sumi was the
So
one quickest to it. So blue team,
blue team,
Blue
here we
team,
go.
blue team, go.
Welcome to the blue team, Marcy says with a smile. Glad you're on the team, Martin adds. He crushes your hand in a hearty handshake. So, what are we playing? You ask. The game is called The Hunt, Lara tells you. What are we hunting for? You ask. Marcy's voice drops down to a croaking whisper. The creepiest, most terrifying things we can find, she says. We vote on which team finds the scariest stuff, Martin explains. If you haven't chickened out by them, you'll become an official member of the horror club. Don't worry about me, you say. I love a good scare. Come on, Dara says. Let's get this game going. You follow your teammates outside. Marcy goes first. Her flashlight beam bounces around the overgrown yard, making weird yellow shadows. You begin scanning the yard, but Martin stops you. Not here, he says. You're the newest member. You have to pass the test. Test? You don't like the sound of that. Martin grins and points across the street. You go there, the cemetery. Great, you declare. I bet I'll find the winning object. If the game is won by finding the scariest stuff, then your teammate just handed you an easy score. What better place to look than at a cemetery? You give your teammates the thumb up and hurry across the yard.
The moonlight casts an eerie glow, creating strange shadows. You carefully make your way towards a small building. There's just enough light for you to read the words Krupnik Crypt carved in the stone over the doorway. You approach the heavy stone door of the crypt. Instead of a doorknob, it has a thick iron ring. Chiseled into the stone above the ring are these words: Who turns the stone will grow bat bones. As you stop to read this, a sudden movement draws your attention. Near the top of the crypt, you see a small hole about your size. While you watch, a tiny black bat flies out of the hole and flutters off into the night. You think, maybe you can catch a bat inside the crypt. That would win the contest for sure. But how will you get inside? The door is covered with cobwebs. Obviously, it hasn't been opened in a long time. Maybe you could climb to the top of the crypt and crawl in through the hole the bat came out of. Or maybe you should just try to pull the big stone door open. It might work. Which will you try? So this is your next choice. You can either crawl in through the hole which was above the door from where the bat came out, or you can try and open the stone door.
Once again, that's A,
Once again,
crawl in through the hole, or B, open the stone door.
honestly, like, why would you crawl through a small hole? I can already see the comment section just
Don't.
y'all just really. We can't say any of this out here, okay?
Small.
Yeah. So,
Crawl in.
what would you guys do anyway? I think the door is the safer option. Like, why would you go through a small
Yeah.
hole when you can
I
go
think
through a
we've
big hole?
A
gotten
small hole with a bat.
we have gotten a response. I
Oh, we
think it
did?
was PR Sushi. I don't know
Sumi.
what's the
Sumi.
pronunciation.
Sumi.
He said B, then it was the Burning Scorpio who
Oh,
said
B?
A, then it was Vidula who said crawl in. So the
Wait, what?
first,
Okay.
yeah,
So the first is crawl in through the small hole.
no, the first one is B.
No,
B.
the first
All
one
right.
is open the stone door.
Okay, you know
Okay,
what? We'll just open
cool.
the stone door. Just open the stone door. You step up to the door, grasp the ring in both hands. It's covered with rust and cobwebs. You're feeling that it hasn't moved in a long time. You clutch the ring and put all your weight into it. A hideous screeching noise fills the air. Slowly, very slowly, the heavy stone door swings open. Holding your breath, you tiptoe inside. You see a large casket sitting on a stone platform in the middle of the dark room. For a moment, you can't move. You stare at the casket and think, there's a dead person in there. Something just grabbed at your head. You brush it away and you gasp. A bat flutters off into the distance, its fangs glinting in the moonlight. Maybe catching a bat isn't such a great idea, you decide. You quickly search the tomb for scary stuff to bring back your teammates, but you find nothing except dust and cobwebs. With a final glance, you leave the tomb to rejoin your friends. There's just one tiny problem. You don't see them anywhere. You're all alone.
Ooh, the bats are giving me PTSD already. Lara, you call out. Martin! Marcy! The only answer is the wind rustling through the trees. Your eyes search the cemetery, but your gaze only falls on crumbling headstones. You glance across the street at the mansion, but it's completely dark. Has everyone gone home? Another bat flies by you, and you decide not to wait around. You race out of the cemetery and head for home. Later that night, you don't feel very well. Maybe you're getting sick. You hope not. You climb onto the bed and drift into troubled sleep. When you awaken a few hours later, it's still dark. And you feel even worse. Maybe a drink of water would make you feel better. Your feet doesn't seem to be working very well, but somehow you make your way to the bathroom. You reach up to flip on the light, but the light switch isn't where it's supposed to be. Instead, it's 3 feet higher than you. And the bathroom mirror is even higher.
Somehow, since you went to bed, your bathroom has grown to 10 times its normal size. Or you've shrunk. I must be dreaming, you think. You climb up on the bathroom sink and stare into the mirror. The face gazing out at you from the mirror isn't your own. It's the furry face of a small, hairy creature with a short nose, huge ears, and tiny white fangs. It's the face of a bat. You wink your right eye, and to your horror, the bat in the mirror winks at the same time. The bat in the mirror is you! No! You scream. It comes out as a tiny squeak. This can't be real, you think? It's got to be a dream, right? You try to pinch yourself, but you can't work your bat fingers. You continue to stare at your reflection, horrified. How could this have happened? You think back over the last evening. You try to remember every detail. You hung out with your new friends at the horror club. There was a contest to find the scariest things. And then you remember something else. A message that was carved into the crypt that sends a chill down your furry little back.
If you Remember, it was written on the wall. Who turns the stone will grow backbones.
Yeah, some of them thought it was bad, though. BAT. But yeah, that was our story. There were a bunch of other ways you could have done this, but this is one of the less horrible endings,
Less
which
horrible.
is not
sure.
saying a lot. um, but thank you for playing, and we hope to see you again next time. And if you guys like this kind of story, tell us. If you guys have any suggestions on what we should do next time, also tell us. And I think that's a wrap. Kinshuk, anything
Yeah,
else?
I just
Yeah.
feel the need to point out something over here because
Yeah.
it's actually necessary. Quite a
Okay.
quite a lot of people actually chose to crawl in, but since the first response was
Yeah.
to open the door, we
Yeah.
went
We
with that.
since earlier, even before,
Santaram even
we always we always pick the first option,
First option.
which we've done since the last show as well.
Quickest fingers first.
Santaram even said, "Don't touch the door. I don't got a good feeling about this." So he had predicted that something bad was gonna happen to the person who opens that door. So
I mean, it's a
good
horror.
insight,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Oh yeah, he was
It's-
shouting, "Don't do it."
Such is the luck of the draw. Whoever draws faster gets it done.
So this was
Okay.
Tales of Choice. To destroy or to raise, the choice is yours. Till we meet again next time, maybe in the Arabian Ocean, or the Amazon forest, or the tombs of Egypt, or somewhere else. But rest assured, we will meet next time.
Lights out.